to share with you the story of two dentists that I met recently after I started my company. One of them, they were both associates working for the group that I worked off before. They were friends. They were actually went to dental school together. So this is the tale of two startups, right? One of them decided to just basically get guidance and get someone to help her. She knew that I had already helped this one individual open this 15 locations. And so for her, it was just convenient and easy for her not to have to reinvent the wheel and just basically say, hey, Maritza, can you help me put together a plan? I'm thinking about starting my practice for the first time. What do you recommend we do? How should we sign up with insurance companies? Can you help me with the negotiation? I've never hired someone in the past before. Is this something that you can help me with? Can you coach me and put me through this process? Not just in theory, but like to physically go in, roll up our sleeves and make sure that we participate throughout the entire process. So long story short, we have let me see here. We have Dr. B on the other hand. She also went to dental school or was working as an associate, but she had this mentality, I want to save time and money. I'm going to try to do this myself. Both young moms with their husbands working with the dream of practice ownership. One took the route of basically trying to do things herself. So when I work with Dr. S, with Dr. Smith, she basically said, my friend just started her practice. She did pretty much everything by herself, but she's struggling. She's not getting patients. She needs help. And when Dr. B reached out to me, she was, I think, almost a year into her practice. And she said, I want you to treat me as a startup. And at that point, as much as I wanted to help her, I felt like she had signed up. She reached out to the insurance companies and accepted whatever fees were thrown at her. So there was nothing. You had to wait at least 2 years. When you are trying to renegotiate your fees 2 years down the line, you're not going to be able to get them up to market. You have to understand how insurances work and how they impact your business. The other, mistake she made was not creating alignment between the office that she had selected and her business model. So she had this mentality, I want to basically not work with this insurance or that because I'm not familiar with it, or but there was no alignment between her desired business model, the location that she had selected demographically, or did she have a plan in order to attract those patients and to justify her out of network status, if you will. The front desk that she had hired, literally, Maria, when I walked in, I said, you have like a yellow line that says like a crime scene here with your front desk. The girl smelled like pure cigarettes, like was missing premolars. And I said, how could you, a fee-for-service wannabe dentist,
yes,
hire someone that it's like not in alignment with your business just because she knew insurances? These mistakes can cost you your business. So where is Dr. S today? Dr. S is working 4 days a week, taking a month off. She made $1 million the first year. She had tons of patients pre-scheduled prior to her soft opening date, all because she actually replicated something that had worked before. She was not reinventing the wheel. She got the guidance. She was flexible, and she was developing herself, hiring the right people with the right guidance. Dr. B, unfortunately, after COVID, had to close down her practice. There was little accountability. It was always pointing the finger. It's the vendor, it's the front desk. I give them everything they need. The patients don't show up. The victim mentality in a lot of dental startups, it's a killer. You're not going to attract the right people. People are going to come into your practice and feel insecure and know that you're scattered. We are drawn to people that seem collected, that show confidence. And if you are basically all over the place, and this happened to me, like my first assistant that I hired, I didn't know what to give her as assignments. I was all over the place. So it didn't work out. And it wasn't that she was a bad individual. It wasn't that I just didn't have the skills at the time. I was just scattered as a new business owner. And a lot of dentists suffer from this. And you need to work on doing that self inventory to assess your skills and where you're lacking, to make sure that you create that alignment between your internal, confidence, if you will, and the external, because energy is contagious and people are either drawn or they're going to stay away from you. And so that's where they are. One had to shut down her practice. The other one is thriving, really doing well for her family, for her patients, for her community, really excited for her success, and really saddened by the fact that there was a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur that I could have helped, and I tried to help and I just couldn't, because she had made so many prior mistakes and she did not have the right mentality. So work on your mentality, because that's absolutely crucial for that. So this here, I wanted to,
Maritza, what you
yes.
just said was hard truths, hard knocks truths. And I think I'm so glad that you're able to share that, because I think those are things that we just don't talk about, right? Because we're always into the day to day. But thank you for that. And we had somebody say that was a great parable, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. So I wanted to share, before we move on to the case study for the acquisition, a couple of pro tips that I think are extremely important for us to be able to share with you. And the first one is, like, work on a written plan for yourself. I always recommend this book, Traction. I'm a self implementer, and I did the EOS, mission vision for myself, for my company. I share it with my team just so that we can all use MDent as the vehicle for us all to grow and to keep ourselves accountable for that. And a business plan. Once you select your office, you want to make sure that you're flexible and you create alignment between your selected site and what the demands of the community are, right? Because you cannot impose yourself or your business model onto a community, because then they're not going to be giving you their business, right? The purpose of a business is to find something that the people need and want, that are willing and can afford, and that you have the means to attract them and be able to deliver on those promises. And so you're going to be miserable if you're not doing the dentistry that you love, based on the selection of your site. And you have to be very mindful of that. So a personal business plan, a business plan as well is important. Create alignment between those locations. What else do we have here? Hire a team of advisors. Don't try to reinvent the wheel yourself. Replicate what other successful people have done, and learn how insurances work. Learn about different options that you have as far as contracts. I think after COVID, the numbers have changed a lot between insurance coverage for people. I think about 60%. It was like 80% pre-COVID. And then a lot of people have lost their coverage. Some doctors are going crazy thinking, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to treat patients? Be creative and find alternative options. I have worked with dentists that through our system, we do market research. We find out insurances, companies that don't provide insurance, and we're able to sell them on an in-house membership program. Where there is a problem, there's always an opportunity. And if you're not tapping into the opportunities and being creative, someone else is doing it and taking the market share. So it is your responsibility to make sure that you are always creating the strategies, the plan, and the implementation along with your team. Get them to partner up with you. And lastly, everything is marketing. I think that I read this amazing book, Everything is Marketing. And I think this is so important. Remember, I just shared with you about Dr. B and having this individual that was missing teeth smell like smoke, because she was like a heavy smoker. These are things that are part of your marketing. There's a difference between marketing and advertising. And I think a lot of people mix them up. I want you to create a sense of separateness and brand building and all the things that you're doing for yourself and the people that you hire, because everything becomes an extension of how you are perceived. We talked about before about like internal and external confidence, and we have to treat ourselves and our businesses in a way of like aesthetically is how patients perceive us, and internally is our house, if you will, or the systems that we have in our practice and the people that we hire, we are always having to constantly work and creating alignment between those two things, the intangibles and the tangibles, the external and the internal dynamics to basically grow as individuals and grow as an organization. Because in an organization is like an individual, but multiple individuals, right? So that's kind of like how we need to look at it. Now let's talk a little bit about.
And Maritza, if you don't mind if I chime in real quick, can we actually go back a slide? Because I think that has a lot of valuable information on that slide.
Definitely.
And for those who are tuning in, take out your phone, take a photo of that, take a screenshot. Maritza doesn't want to gatekeep these until the very end or just gatekeep them in general. Utilize them. She's putting them in this presentation for a reason and wanted you to have little bits and pieces as we go throughout today's conversation or presentation.
And I'm also gonna put in the chat that everything is marketing is from Fred Joyal, one of a good book too that I've read, and as well as Traction by Gina Wickman. Love the Level 10 meeting. That's the way to get the needle moving.
Perfect. Thank you, Maria.
Welcome.
And I think we can go past the slide now, but I just wanted to give everyone the opportunity to take a quick screenshot of that because I think that's really valuable information.
We're good. Thank you so much. Awesome.